Welcome back to Football Coach. It's episode 33. Just what are we looking at here? Well, it's possible replacements for offensive coordinator. Just as we're committed to another year of the coaches, and no doubt this time, well, now doubt arises forcibly. We'll talk more about that in just a second, but first, the candidate. The list of possible replacements for offensive coordinator is actually quite short. And that's because the ones who are willing to accept the role are rather minimum. Head coach replacements are fairly numerous because there's a lot of people willing to leave a position to become a head coach. But those who already have a job to take a lesser position as offensive coordinator or, at a smaller program in the same sort of position, not that many are willing to do so. The unemployed, well, they're fairly willing. But there's really only a few that would actually accept a job to come to us otherwise. And you can see that they're all really, really weak programs kind of across the board that would accept something. And most of these guys are quite low level, which actually is no surprise really at all. Lowest current level just coming in, we got a level 11 Evan Harrison, who's a 6'1", 2'2". That's not awful. He's only 31 years of age, but what is awful is that he's balanced run first. That's not what we want to be doing. In fact, we wanted a spread pass first. So we have a 43-year-old offensive coordinator for Oregon State, but he's already 43 and only a 5.136 despite being 43. So the only candidate that really jumps out at me as somebody that I would probably be willing to sign is Donovan Cameron, mostly just because we need to get the scheme right, and that's spread pass first. A 6.215. Well, the 6 puts us right back where we were until just moments ago when we leveled up our offensive coordinator to a 7. He's been a 6, and he's a 5.5. So a 1.5 knocks us down a few levels. He's only level 14. He's only got a couple badges, and I don't know what those badges are, but apparently he's a good offensive recruiter, hence the already a 5. And at 35, he's got plenty of time before he's going to hit 40. Giving us, that clock back on 1,000 XP every season. He's never had a contract before. He's a new gen. He never existed at the age of 34. So this coach is just coming onto the scene, looking for a job. But back to why we're even looking at this in the first place, and that is our now 7. Oh, see, he's not even a 5.5. He's a 4.5. So our 7.4.5 offensive coordinator, Alec Dowell, who's a level 17 and now 40, well, his spread run first butt has been offered a job. South Carolina. Now that's obviously a much bigger job. And it's kind of funny because, right, we know just a year ago we were looking at their offensive coordinator to take over as a head coach for us. Clearly, he's just gotten that job for somebody a year on, and now they're looking for a replacement. So I am going to try to make a counter offer to hang on to him. However, we're not going to go too big on that. That replacement, right, we're only sacrificing 3 levels and 1 level, but we're getting back quite a few years. But I like the direction we've gone with these. Actually his badges really aren't very good besides the bulldozer one I like. Well, South Carolina is trying to offer him quite an advantage, and we would be really, really into big contract territory to hang on to him. 1.15 would be the territory we'd have to get. That's a big increase. That is a very big increase. So to go after Donovan Cameron, we can save almost $1 million a year over quite a few years. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna save money. that opens the floodgates finally on we can actually change our coaches. We can finally change our coaches. His badges. Wide receivers gain +2 route running on short pass plays. And recruiting pitches to players with power back archetype yield 100 extra points. Well, there you go. He's somebody who's got an advantage in recruiting. That's something we need. So we're going to take it. Here's our first shift. And at 300K, we're actually going to save a little bit of money. Well, we're going to move off that run first into the pass first offense for the coming season. Only that single bonus. We only had a single bonus as it were. But otherwise, everything else remains the same for the coming year. Coach integrity has climbed all the way to 80. We still have a good amount of NIL money left, though we've spent some of it so far in signings. And we've got an 84 overall A potential Richard Jr.'s. We only have one more year. Who's looking to head into the draft, and his draft mock is only 6th round, so I'm hoping we can convince him to stay for one more year to help anchor our defense and increase his, draft value. It's going to be all conference in order to keep him around, because that's a lot. 2.2 million, that's pretty much all of our NIL money to keep him around. I'd rather use that on like a freshman transfer. So we're going to go ahead and make the all-conference promise. I think the odds are pretty good. He should be, 87, 88. That's pretty decent odds that he's going to make all-conference team. And with coach integrity up at 80, I feel there's more of an opportunity to make that wager. But in the graduating player category, Josue Pryor is heading out this time as a senior, and his mock draft round is 3rd place. Cooper Knowles, 4th round draft. So both of these guys look like they're about to get drafted. And Cooper Knowles did make All-American, 3rd team, and they both made All-Conference. Chappell, he's going to go undrafted. Pretty good quarterback, 87 overall, but clearly not NFL quality. 33 touchdowns, 20 interceptions in his career. 82 times he was sacked. He could not scramble for the life of him, even though he actually did gain a little bit on the ground. That's going to be big shoes to fill. That's going to be the main focus of this episode today, is trying to fill that quarterback void so that we are not starting totally from fresh. We're going to be looking for a transfer to step into that starter spot who is at least upper 70s. Quite a few other guys, though, 80 plus. We've got 11 graduates that are in 80 plus. Plenty of quality, though there's a few guys at the bottom of this that barely played, if at all, over their career. It was a good class, though. It's definitely going to be a little bit of a step back next year, but as we've already discovered, we are into that revolving door kind of phase now that we do have quality behind these guys. There is plenty of players that can play, and we are not going to be down into that 0-12 area. We should still be picking up wins next year, but how much? How much? Looking back over Josue Pryor's career, redshirt senior, right? We put him all the way through. He's been with us for the entirety of his career. He was not a transfer. He was a high school recruit. His only award, first team all conference this year. So I thought he had picked one up as a redshirt sophomore. He didn't. That was not who I thought it was. But statistically, he played 4 games as a true freshman, but that's enough to keep you on the redshirt category. So he was good enough to be in the mix in that very, very first year. But he had 3 pancakes and gave up 2 sacks in those 4 games. Next year, as a redshirt freshman, 21 pancakes, 8 sacks allowed, but that was about it because he only gave up 2 in the next 3 years. He did have an NIL deal in that first year, $100K to get him on board, and then $1.8 million last year to keep him around for that senior year, or junior year, actually. No, it was the end of his sophomore year that he was thinking about going into the draft, and then that kept him around for the junior, and he stayed put for the senior as well, with the additional promise being all conference, which he made. But as for those attributes and that growth, a 101 strength, 93 run blocking, and 98 pass blocking. We played him out as a tackle, and he was a 65 out of high school as a true freshman. He was a 75 overall. He made a plus 10. Made a plus 10 in that year. First was the offseason development where he took a huge gain, but I put points into him. We trained him, got him to a 75. The next year we got him to an 82, then an 86, then a 92, and finally a 95. He was an A minus high school on the potential. So a 65 A minus is what we recruited initially. Now for offensive line, that's huge because we have not been able to recruit that very often. We were very, very lucky that we were able to pick him up at that NIL, being a big part of that. Durability good throughout, and that strength went from a 68 to up to a 101. Run blocking went from a 71 to an 83, and the pass blocking went from a 60 to a 98. As for Cooper Knowles, same deal. He was with us for the entirety of his 5 years, and he played 2 games as a true freshman, redshirted, and then played 12 every other year since. We stayed healthy throughout, and I didn't realize that he was second team All-American for the all-freshman team. That's crazy. But then this year he was third team All-American as a linebacker and first team All-Conference as a linebacker. And in that first year, in just 2 games, he had 7 tackles. And that next year, 46, 43, 63, and 69 on the tackles, with a decent amount of tackles for a loss, 11 this year. 5 sacks. No wonder he made that all freshman year. And 16 pressures. That was an aggressive year based on position that he played. And he did a lot to put pressure on quarterbacks. He got a little bit less pressure. I think we changed him positionally in that linebacker role, which put him more in coverage. This year he had a forced fumble, 2 interceptions, and they were both pick sixes to make that All-American team. Yeah, you can see he was targeted a lot less in that first year. Pass deflections, 3.53 the last few years. So, yeah, we pushed him from outside linebacker where he was blitzing into a more inside linebacker because he was the guy who was our best at it. Though you can see he definitely played a lot more in the last 2 years, as he was the main inside linebacker. He holds 3 records for us: single season defensive touchdowns, forced fumble, we've still never forced more than 1, and single game defensive touchdowns. So season and game records. His growth over the years: for one, he's got that A plus durability, B potential. That's all it took. B potential got him up to an 87. Where he started, 65. For a linebacker, that's really good. Those were 2 very big recruits that year. They turned out to be what we hoped they would be. Potential-wise, it was down a little bit, though. It's just he didn't grow as much as prior. But he certainly did well. So high school, he was a 65. By the time he came to us, he was a 68A. 68B minus. So he actually took a knock, went down, got it back a little bit. He only grew so much a year, right? 3, 6 points, 4 points, 4 points, 5 points. Nothing major, just consistent. Could have been a good quarterback or a safety as well in the defense. Speed picked up over the years. Strength definitely got better in his senior season. Junior and senior season, that grew a lot. Catching ability in that final year really helped him on the interception side. Tackling steadily improved, very good by that senior year. Block shedding was all right. Pursuit was definitely good. Man coverage and zone coverage were both pretty solid, and he was smart. At the moment, we're only returning 6 players that are already in an 80-plus category. The good news, though, is that 3 of those 6 aren't juniors, so they're going to offer us quite a bit. And then there's a good number of players that are in that high 70s that we can definitely count on becoming an 80-plus. But again, I do think we are going to take just a little step backwards next year. Well, first internal roster change is that Mauricio Lilly, redshirt junior running back who's only become a 71 overall, we're going to let him go. He wants playing time, and he's not going to find it here because Gabriel Norman, who's heading into his redshirt freshman year, is already ahead of him. And then there's two other redshirt juniors ahead of him as well. He's not going to play. He is not going to play unless somebody gets injured. And I'm not going to offer him playing time. I'm not going to guarantee him anything, so he'll be out. For the moment, we have 4 coach integrity to gain from 2 promises. I promised a cornerback that he'd get some play time, and that's not going to be easy, actually, to achieve. I'm making an all-conference for the other player. Seems actually kind of likely with our defensive line is going to be dangerous next year. If they can stay healthy, they are going to be so difficult to beat. We are going to be very good against the run next season. But I have an offensive lineman who wants to win. He wants to win 6 games. I don't think we're going to win. We're not going to win 6 games. That's so unlikely. 6 coach integrity on the line, meaning our +4 would be offset by a -6. Our natural gain over the year, like we might actually end up losing 1, but I think that'll keep our coach integrity about the same, right? Now that we've built it up, it's going to be about the same in the coming year. The gain for the end of the year was only a +1, even though we picked up the 8 promises. So I do think it would be a -1 next year, but I mean, coach integrity 79. We need this offensive lineman. I mean, look how quickly we drop down and are shallow at offensive line. It's going to be a bit of a problem. So is wide receiver in the coming year and potentially quarterback. So the offense may struggle to score. We're going to need the defense to really step up big. But I'm going to make the promise that I don't think we're going to be able to keep, even though I could leverage $1.5 million. I could. And then keep the integrity climbing instead of dropping. But no, I'm going to take I know we're going to take the hit. We are going to lose that 6 coach integrity. I'm promising something that's a lie. So running back, 4th string running back, redshirt junior Lilly is the only outgoing player that we're going to let go there. It's going to give us 9 more scholarships. Plenty to get down some more signings here for the in the transfer market. The AI had 0 players on the recommended to be cut list, and for good reason. There just really wasn't any viable cuts. Everybody in the program right now belongs here. I didn't make any rash decisions on signings in recent years, and we're progressing well. But when I look hard, I did find a couple that we could let go of. We've got a 2-star defensive lineman, redshirt sophomore. They're both redshirt sophomores that we're going to let go. The other one being a running back. Both of them mid-60s, so they're already 3 years through their development cycle and still mid-60s. And while they both had fairly good potential, they had poor durability, one being an awful F+. So that was kind of back just before I really started focusing in on durability as part of the recruitment process and not just potential. And so we're letting a couple of those guys go before they get into their last couple of years and get into the bottom edge of depth chart and then just get hurt, within a few games. Neither one of them's played, and now they won't ever play. But that brings us back down to 74. So we've got 11 scholarships left. That's going to be a bit happening as I head into this offseason recruiting. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year out of Alabama, 99 overall D lineman, is first in the draft, even though he's got low durability. But Josue Pryor did get drafted, and he went in the 2nd round, pick 32. He was this close. Wow, that close to pushing down into round 3. That was not to make round 1. Oh, I almost went the wrong way. That was not overall. That was pick for the round. So he was last pick of the 2nd round. But good on him to squeeze his way into the second round. And Cooper Knowles, second pick of the fourth round. So just one round separating those guys plus a couple of picks. And even though he was the All-American, Pryor was clearly the better overall. He got less recognition, but they were both very, very good players. And we recruited them out of high school. So that has been the path, that has been the method, and it's clearly leading us to, a new phase. 540 players in the transfer portal this year. Chappell and Knowles are going to graduate, leaving us with a lot of career records. Chappell in particular, yards, pass completions, attempts, pass completion. It's not a good percent, by the way. That's really not a very good percent at all. Pass touchdowns, 33. Attempts, almost yards per attempt, almost 7. That's not great. The efficiency rating is pretty good, though. 118 is a good number. The sacks, that's not one you want. But rushing touchdowns for McCauley with 10. And then tackles for Knowles and defensive touchdowns. Single season record updates. Chappell had a few for the season. McCauley had 8 touchdowns this last year. Catches for Harden and times being targeted, which is amazing considering that he was our first real, he had some quality but not potential, and he didn't develop very well. He developed very slowly year by year and then took off in that senior year to become the number one guy, but wasn't great compared to what we've had in recent years. Cooper Knowles, the defensive touchdowns and single game records. Chappell picking up a few of those. As for some team records this year, points per game, yards per game, rushing yards per game, and the offensive talent were all records. Opponents' points per game. We were only a -6 this year, -5.9 to be exact. Opponent yards per game, just 421. Our previous record was 485. Opponent passing yards per game, rushing yards per game, total forced turnovers, and the defensive talent at 80.8. Game records, rushing yards, and offensive talent. On defense, it was opponent points, 16 against Washington. Good squad, too. Opponent yards, 293. Rushing yards, 78. These are almost all different games. Sacks, 5, and the talent. So as we reach signing day, we've got 31 targets remaining after exhausting everything out there for our 11 scholarships. So fingers crossed that we're able to get all of those, and realistically we should be able to get all of those, even though very few of the 31 are going to be high school or junior college guys. The vast majority are transfer targets this time around. I'm really trying to find something that's out there. And last year I showed you the process that I was going through, and this year I've been able to even scale that up a little bit further, and we're finding a way to be competitive for a lot of races. In particular for quarterback, as we have the position being wide open, our instant starter is very much going to come as a transfer, and I have no doubt that we will get them out of one of our 3 targets. But speaking of, who are those targets that we're going to be going after? For one thing, we've used all of our NIL, all of our pitches. Everything is ready, organized how I want it. Let's just go position by position on what we're targeting so you can see kind of the breakdown. We're also going to note the how many that I'm willing to accept, which, by the way, where we have 11, I'm at 13. So there are a couple that will not get accepted based on those limits. Somebody's going to get kind of left out, and there's very much a bottom end of that list on, priorities on who it would be. But our hopeful quarterback for next year, but less likely, is George Bell. 77 overall. A potential. Freshman out of Texas. Played 1 game this last season, so he did get on the field, but he's got his red shirt intact. So redshirt freshman, 5-star. Fantastic. And we were number 1. We were number 1 by quite the margin. Until this week, UCLA just gained 1,000 points to overtake us. They gained that 1,000 points by offering him an NIL of nearly $5 million. We can't do that on our best day. We, without the 70%, would take a huge penalty instead of a gain, so we can't do anything to overcome that. And with a pitch, even though it's our best pitch, he's our number one guy, at plus 332, like, I don't see us re-overtaking UCLA in that manner. So it's now very unlikely that we are going to sign him. But as I've found, some of these quarterbacks really, really want to play for us. Some, certainly not all, but some really wanted to play for us. George Bell was one of those. And if not for the insane NIL, he would be playing for us next year. But in his place, it looks like we're going to have a 2-year starter, most likely, number 2 on our list right now, in Chase McNair. But he, too, is somebody that, if we were to offer an NIL, it would be in the many millions, and we just can't offer that. So that's the one area where, yes, okay, we can go out and grab a quarterback quite easily, except for that the NILs regarding quarterbacks is massive and out of our reach for anyone worth their salt, anyway. He's a 78, though. He's actually a point better, but he's a redshirt sophomore already. He's got potential. He's got durability. He's going to be fine. And we're 1,600 points ahead of Cal. But I can't offer an NIL. And the slightly scary part about this one, the not guaranteed signing, is that nobody's offered an NIL on him at this point. So Cal, the closest one behind us based on estimate, and that estimate could be quite a bit higher than it is. I mean, it's a wide open range. It's 1,600 to 2,200, but 2,200 still puts them a long ways behind us, right? We are at 3,500, so we've got a very healthy advantage. But one, it could be less healthy than we think it is by quite a bit, right? A few hundred points higher. So instead of 1,600, it could be 1,300. And two, they're going to get a slight boost. So they are going to close the gap, most likely. And three, if they offer a significant NIL, we could still get beat on this one. But the odds are very good. So our plan C for starting quarterback for next year would be a one-and-done redshirt senior out of Louisville, who's a 75 overall right now with some development. Should be about a 79. We're 600 points ahead on that one. Definitely no guarantee. I did go ahead and make a big pitch just in case. We're adding 758 points this week. So, because I had not previously offered scholarship, that's going to give us a decent chance to stay ahead. And if all three of those fail, wish us luck next season. At running back, I'm targeting 2 signings. First off, a true freshman 5-star out of Ohio State, who's a 76 overall currently, though he doesn't have much more potential, but the durability is close enough, and we're only 300 points behind Hawaii. We've added in a $610K NIL deal to pick up 500-plus points. So if Hawaii is on the little bit downside of their estimate and they don't offer an NIL, we could jump them. And if we don't jump them, that's our rival picking up a 5-star running back who would be a redshirt freshman. That is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. And I don't care about the potential on this one because he is so far ahead on current ability already that, this guy could be an 80 next year as a redshirt freshman, meaning we'd have 2 really good running backs on our roster. To back that up for a second one, guaranteed signing, potential A and durability A+ for 64 overall. True freshman. But that's well worth it. Well worth it. For a third option, we got a 77 overall A potential redshirt sophomore, so he's already a couple classes behind. I didn't even pitch him because others came in and gave offers. We were the only ones on his list a week ago. 3 other schools came in, and now we're one of 4, and we are third of 4 seemingly in the rankings. And it's very close between 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but Iowa has a pretty healthy advantage. So pretty sure he's headed there. So that's part of the reason why he's further down the list and that he is older. But we've got a very good chance of securing a 3-star high school running back with good potential and durability, and we've got a pretty healthy advantage over Syracuse on that second signing. Wide receiver is also a position that I'm going after two guys, and as I noted before, we've got a step backwards happening next year at the position. So it'd be really nice to get one of these first handful of guys at the top of our list. Ohio State, 4-star, true freshman, 79 with a B, but we are 4th of 4, but it's very tight. 78 A plus, 700 behind, probably not going to happen. 80 B plus, 600 behind, probably not going to happen. We're definitely going to sign this gem, though, with really good potential and a pretty good overall out of high school. Durability is okay at C. And then two more guys a little bit further down the list. One that's not going to happen and one that probably will. The one that probably will happen, good chance to happen anyway, is a 77 overall, B plus potential, B minus durability, redshirt junior. So he'll be a senior. It'll be a one and done, but I'm more inclined to pick those up in the transfer market now if they are willing to sign with us and they are going to be in, that 77 plus kind of territory where they are absolutely going to contribute in that 1 year. If I had the NIL money left over, he was actually the next guy on my list that was going to get an NIL offer, but it didn't happen. So we only offer plus 276 on the pitch, and we're only 300 ahead of Colorado. Good chance that we actually could lose that battle, and there's also a very good chance that we won't get two guys out of this. We will get one, but we don't know that we're going to get a second. There's one of your 13 that could slip into, slip down towards that maximum of 11. Tight end, 13th of 13 on the list for positions because both of these guys are utter garbage. I could not find a tight end this year for the life of me. I did a decent amount of scouting. I put it off for a long time because tight end just really is not part of our scheme. But now that we are going more pass first, I mean, we do need to keep that door of tight ends going, right? We've got to have somebody decent at that position, but we're only looking for one per year, and finding one this year was hard. We have a guy going into his senior year that's only a 75, but he's got durability, but we're 1,000 points behind Cal. So very unlikely, didn't even bother to pitch because of how far behind we are. And then we have Rollins, who is a high school player, but he lacks durability and overall. And that really was it. The next best I could find was in C potential range. The next best I could find was about a 55 or a 56. So this guy's better overall, much better potential. And I couldn't find durability either. I mean, tight end was just a nightmare for the pool this particular year, at least the part of the pool we're looking at. And the transfer class was just as ugly. Offensive line, as always, is such a hard sell. There's tons of competition. There are lots and lots of offers for each and every player. Everybody's getting 4 offers or 3 offers, and competing with them is incredibly tough. We're going to give it a shot. We are at least putting some pitches into this one, but I'm not even putting NIL money down on it, as we are unlikely to win any of these 3 battles for these higher guys. 2 redshirt freshmen and a would-be senior that are all ready to be one of our 5 starters. And then you drop down the list to get 2 guys that are in the upper 50s, and their durability is not great, and their potential is only good. It was a tough year on offensive line as well. We're looking to take 2 offensive linemen, even though suggested needs are still 3, but we've already got 2 guys signed on earlier. A little bit better than the 2 we were looking there, hence why we offered those guys first. But ultimately, that would give us 4. That's plenty for the class. Anyway, on to D-line, as kicker was already done. We did recruit a high school kid on that, which was fantastic. For D-line, we've got a decent option here, only 300 points behind, but it is absolutely a 4-way battle that could go to anyone. A 76 overall redshirt freshman with potential and good durability out of Penn State. 610K NIL offer to give us almost 600 points. These guys all offered last week, so that was why they got the big jump there. They're going to get less this week. We should be able to make up 200 to 300 points, quite possibly, unless they drop NILs as well, in which case we will definitely still be second or third on this list. I doubt we're going to finish fourth, but I also doubt we're going to be able to jump all three of them. It's going to be close, though. That's going to be a close battle. He's sixth on our list. After that is 4 high schoolers, and I do have needs for 3, and we have not signed any. So we're going to accept up to 2. So most likely it's going to be 2 high schoolers, but fingers crossed on Chun. But anyway, we've got Anaya, who's a 61 overall, so it's a little bit higher than the other guys, even though his potential is slightly lower and his durability is slightly lower. That +4 or +6 that he has over these guys is enough of an edge that I'm offering him. First and foremost, he's also coming in as a gem anyway. And we've got a 57 with a BB. We've got a 55 with a B plus A minus, but he starts that couple points lower. And then we have 55 with a B minus A. We'll easily get our 2, right? We're fairly well guaranteed. This guy's so far ahead, and this one's not contested. These others, there's no offers right now, so we could end up taking these couple higher guys up the list and not have to settle for some 55s this year. D-line's looking so strong, though. Linebacker. We've got a redshirt sophomore, 69 A+, and only 300 points behind. And not only was I able to get into the 75% threshold, this was the guy we put even more into, as he was extremely into the NIL but didn't require a huge offer. He's only a 69 overall right now, but he's got amazing potential and good durability, but he's a little bit older. Made him a little more accessible, and with a smaller NIL, we got a huge boost, 751 points. That's a legit shot to actually win that battle. Might not happen, but it's a legit shot to win that battle. And then we have a 71, also redshirt sophomore, B minus, but we're 700 points behind. And then we do have a couple linebackers down the list. We are going to take 2 linebackers, and we're well ahead on both of those if we can't get either of these. No cornerbacks, but we already signed 2 high schoolers. And then for safety, this is the other position that there's a fairly decent chance that we are not going to sign anyone. We're 4th on each of these guys' list. We've got a true freshman out of Michigan State, and he is a 4-star 71B with okay durability, but we are 4th on the list, and the other 3 offers already just came in last week with a much higher value. We're not going to win that one. But we do have a high schooler, 3-star guy, 64BB, and we're 4th on his list, but no other offers. If they don't accept, these guys are also on the lower end of the list, so we might not necessarily take them anyway, but I think they're basically position 12 of the 13 on what we're going after, but there's a few of the other athletes that are towards the bottom end of their list and would be the second or the third signings that I've got underneath those 2 safeties. And so we may still, the 11th position could be a safety or a second for something somewhere else. But all NIL money spent, all guys given offers, I think we are ready to go. Okay, well, here we go. Number 1, they only give us a 5% chance. Really, they think we are that far behind. I mean, even Cal has a bigger chance than we do. Well, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and see how we're looking. It is UCLA by 1,600 points, so we ended up quite a ways behind on that one. As Cal also came in and offered $4 million, so they both jump us. Ooh. So we get the penalty anyway for not having the NIL. Oh, that's weird. No NIL deal versus an NIL deal, meaning you're going to get penalized. So it's not just about offering less than 75%, it's offering like 0% is also penalized. That explains why we are behind, which means we would be completely screwed when it comes to our second guy, Chase McNair. If somebody else came in and offered an NIL, we're done for. We're done for. And we are. Cal has jumped us on this one with a $4 million NIL deal. We did not get either of our primary targets. We lost 1,000 points. There was no way to get anywhere near that. We were going to get punished no matter what. Even if we had saved every single NIL dollar and gave them the $2.25 million that we had, we still would have taken a penalty instead of a positive and lost this battle. Lesson learned on that one, but lesson being we can't compete with NIL money until we can get some prestige up. Well, on to Alan Farmer. We did give Farmer an NIL. He was more approachable, the true freshman, but we were 4th of 4 on his list prior to the NIL and the pitch. So could we overcome the deficit? No, he was still 4th of 4. Only 500 points behind, but still 4th of 4. He's heading to Oregon State. 0 for 3 so far. Gosh, things were looking good a little bit ago, and suddenly they are not. Hawaii had the advantage on this one. We were 2nd on the list for Ronald Dillon. Dillon also got an NIL offer, but overcoming the deficit was going to be difficult, and apparently Hawaii was able to offer the NIL as well. They were, making the difference. Fuentes was a lost cause. We were almost 3,000 points behind there. Chun was a legitimate shot. This was the 3rd of 4 NILs that we offered, but we were again playing catch up on this one. We were a little ways behind. 610K is what we offered. Was it enough to move up the list? It moved us up the list from 4th to 3rd, and it got us very close to Rutgers, but no, it is a loss in the end by just 159 points. Everybody did offer the NIL. So all those big signings have gone the wrong direction, and of course we knew Taylor was going to be a loss, but here's our first shot, and we're 75% behind. They must have offered an NIL. They must have offered an NIL, and they did, because we're 1,000 points behind. $3.25 million. We couldn't offer that either. We got no quarterback. Our high school recruit was the only one. I didn't see that one coming. I thought for sure we'd get one of those guys, but the massive NIL deals have left us rotting in the sun, and we're going to be a withered tomato next year at the quarterback position. 3rd lineman, 4th of 4. Well behind, but I knew that one was coming. Here's Davenport. I thought I had a legitimate shot at. I thought we were much closer, but they give us less than a 5% chance, and Iowa was the only one who I was really afraid of, and yet we end up 2,600 points behind Illinois. I'm guessing, how did that happen? Because they just now added the NIL deal, and that was enough to jump over these guys who only gained 200 without the NIL. That's why we lost 1,500. So Chin is a loss. Almost 3,000 behind. Finally, our first signing, and these are a string of high school guys. So we missed out on our entire A tier this year, even with those we offered on NIL. And we were 2nd, but well behind. We were 3rd, but very close. And we were 2nd, but well behind. But there's 2 offensive linemen. There's 2 defensive linemen. That's 4 signings. We did get Anaya, though. That's the one that I was looking for there. Happy to have gotten him. 15% chance on this linebacker. This is Blackwell. This was our final NIL offer, and this is the one that we were able to well exceed the 75% threshold. In fact, we got him just over the 100%. We got a little added bonus. They only give us a 15% chance for the redshirt sophomore, and we were 3rd of 4 on the list. Everybody offered, and they all offered more than we could offer on that. Gosh, AI is brutal. That's a loss. Linebacker, we got that one. High school. Wide receiver, high schooler, got that one. These are all the fallbacks. Now, as disappointing as losing all of these battles has been through this stage, right here, right now, missing out on all of those, getting no transfers is hurting, okay? But we're still getting the same guys that we are normally getting anyway. I just had all those transfers above them. The shot in the dark, the big chance to get a big time addition. Now, normally we've been able to snag up one or two of those a year, but not very good ones, except on rare occasions. Right now, we have not gotten the very good ones, and really not gotten any, but we are getting the standard class, and it's not bad. It's not bad right now, but there's another miss on the safety, but the second safety is a signing. That's how far down that list we have come, that we have already gotten to that second safety that I was saying was position 12 of 13 that I was looking at, and we're getting that guy. But we do get a running back here, a true freshman, 64 overall with an AA+. Happy to have him. He is a good addition, but of course he was uncontested anyway. But there is a transfer in the class. So we have not gotten without any transfers. We've gotten kind of the transfer that we do normally get. A little bit of a gem, but uncontested gem that you just had to sift through everything and find. You had to locate them, being the trick. But we miss out here as well on the other running back that was just behind him on the list. And that gets us into the final phase of getting the high school running back. So that's actually 3 for this class, but we also did transfer 1 out and graduate 1 or 2. But we're missing on another wide receiver and another wide receiver. And finally, we're down to our final 3 guys. And you got to be kidding me that we're looking at 2 tight ends. Did I even get to 11 then? Did I even get to 11? This is literally the last guy on the list. So we missed out. We did not get the wide receivers. Did we get any wide receivers, being the question? That's the one that I think we missed out on. That's putting us down to number 13 of 11 in the tight end. We get the linebacker. We do not get that tight end, so we do get the final last guy on the list. 59 A-, but low durability and only a 59, but it is tight end. That's a few points higher than normal for tight end, at least, and the potential is certainly higher than normal. It's just poor durability. I don't think I signed a wide receiver. No, okay, we did get one. That's right, we did not get the second one. I'm not sure what the other position was then that we missed out on. Might have been offensive line. No, we got 2 there as well. Of course, I know where it was. It was the second wide receiver, but it was the quarterback that opened up the pathway for the tight end. We did not get our quarterback signing. I was so confident that we were going to get our guy out of one of those 3. We did have a high school recruit. There was nobody else ready to step in to be a starter in the transfer class. There were other quarterbacks, and there was interest in others, and I probably could have found somebody if I kept searching. I did not realize that was going to happen, that we were going to get jumped when I had such a massive advantage like that one. I was very confident in Chase McNair, and $4+ million later, we got hung out to dry. And oh man, that part hurt. That really hurt. 20 signings total. 8 of them are 3 stars and above, and 2 of them are true freshman transfers. Class this year, Oklahoma, and then Texas and Ohio State. And at least we weren't last. Not that the recruiting class really amounts to much. It's those recruit rankings are very artificial, but we get 20 guys overall. Well, we at least did get some bonus money this year. The conference TV deal, of course, being standard, and just the 2 bronze donors, but we did achieve both of their bonuses, giving us an extra $2.25 million. And then the out of conference, well, we got $1 million for Kansas, nothing for Tulsa, so just $1 million on those 2 new deals. And yeah, total earnings 19.75. Covering costs in every location has left us with just $4 million. So not a lot left over, but at least it's a positive balance, and a little bit. I mean, $4 million is making progress towards the next thing. I'm really starting to think that we need a boost in our marketing. Why? Because, well, 67th could have easily been 64th or 63rd with better marketing. a slight advantage in points. And yet we gained 205. Last year we were 69th and gained like 10 points. This year we were 67th and gained 205. We were 3-9 this year and only ranked 67th. We really need to get a little bit of a marketing boost going, I think, if we are going to achieve anything. Plus, there's the faraway recruit bonus that is absolutely hurting us. And NIL, how much you're gaining in the bonus for those dollars, like all of this matters. All of it. Prestige gains per year, and the poll. Every single thing here matters right now. And we cannot say the same in a lot of these other categories. So I do think it is time. We are going to come up a little short of the next level, but it's not going to hurt maintenance until we actually start to get somewhere. So in a year, we will get to level 4. No change for the boosters this year. Right now it's the 2033 off season, so next year will be the 2034 off season with realignment for 2035. Does that mean it happens next year in advance of the following season, or will it happen in 2 years? Either way, don't spoil it for me. I guess we'll leave that one to chance. There's good things and bad things about dropping down a conference. However, I mean, there's only one conference level that we could drop down, though yet we have so many talented teams in this conference. It's shocking because, I mean, hello, this conference is stronger than this conference by quite a bit, and these guys all being 7 stars when, like, Washington's a 6-star. Arizona State, okay, fine. Yeah, a little surprising, but there's much better chances to get frequent wins with Tulsa, Tulane, Memphis, East Carolina, all struggling, and then, even then, you've got another 2 to 4 that are a bit more approachable than what we're used to going up against. Well, we're definitely going to get a chance to at least get our couple of wins next year because we're going to have 3 farmable games, except for all on the road. And speaking of on the road, 9 away games and just 3 home games next season. But we get Oregon State at home for one of those 3, and then Utah and Southern California. USC should be crushing us, but away in Hawaii is probably a loss just based on history, but you never know. That quarterback situation is going to be a little tricky, but we do have Tulsa, Oregon State, Kansas. We could have our 2 wins by the 4th game of the season. And then, when you add in Hawaii and Rutgers and Colorado down the stretch, even though it's all on the road, you figure there's a pretty decent chance to get 1 out of those, regardless of how we're going to be. I do think our defense is going to be really, really tough next year. They are going to be phenomenal, and there are going to be some good pieces on offense, especially with that run game improving, but I do think our pass game is going to have a massive down year. One massive down year, and we should be rebounding. At this stage, we only have a single outstanding contract, by the way, with Clemson, where we've played 1 of 3 with them. We've got plenty of years to get those other 2 in. With these 2 expiring, I would imagine I'll get a game against Clemson in next year, and then add in a new, farmable. We really need to be farming wins. Never mind. I like the 12 million. The 12 million is nice, but we need to be making the money on a more permanent basis by getting wins. And if we can be positive on the balance right now and we're not staving off financial ruin type scenarios or getting worse because of it, then yeah, farming wins is priority for the seasons to come, especially for coach development. That's going to do it for this episode, though. Outside of the quarterback fiasco, the recruiting class went pretty well, and we came so close to a number of battles. We were in it to win it. We did get our kind of customary couple of transfers in the market, both true freshmen heading into redshirt freshman kind of situations. So everything else was normal. But that quarterback thing did not pan out, and we're learning the hard way about the massive NIL gulf that we face in that position in particular. So we're gonna have to be a little more careful next year when we go to recruit a quarterback, probably in the transfer market, to find one that's not being contested, even though they're probably going to be significantly worse than the options we were looking at here that would have been fantastic additions. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.